Plus, we'll have Bolt Brady, the one and the only Bolt Brady, talking all things Super Bowl, trying to make you some money.
Hopefully.
Plus, we have a family 4-pack of tickets to the Condors against Ontario Reign on $3 beer night. All you got to do is text into the show 661-842-2000.
And this is not a game you want to miss. If you are a Bakersfield Condors fan, you need to go down to this game because the Condors are knocking on the door, not only of second place in the Pacific Division, but first. And if they can get 2 big wins against Ontario this weekend before the All-Star game, just like Holtby told us yesterday, we are in prime position to take that spot over. And the AHL will be turned on its head because I don't think they're ready for playoff hockey in Bakersfield.
They're not ready for the Condors.
No. And, of course, our own Sparky will be, rallying you guys with the horn on Friday.
The horn. I'll be throwing away, or I'll
For the
throw out
second
some
time this
shirts.
year?
So, yeah.
Fantastic. Can't wait to see that. Let us start, though. It is 3 days until Super Bowl. So obviously we got to start in the NFL. We got more audio out there from Radio Row for you guys. We got to hear from the quarterbacks yesterday. We got to hear from the head coaches once again, and a handful of the star players, stud players, whatever you want to call it. I have a bite from Stephon Diggs and from Mr. Lawrence on the Seattle side, just to, throw some different names in there. But the majority of the voices you're going to hear today are the quarterbacks. They are the 2 biggest stories of the weekend, if you ask me. Drake May potentially knocking on the door of his first MVP, now also trying to win a Super Bowl at the same time. I don't think he'll win the MVP. The more I thought about it, the more this season went along, it has to go to Matt Stafford, and we'll get some thoughts from him as well, or you'll hear some thoughts from him on that entire thing. But let's start in Seattle, because this, to me, like I've been saying for the entire week, is the best story of the Super Bowl, and that's Sam Darnold. What Sam Darnold has been able to do with his career since coming in, supposedly being the savior for the Jets, not getting anywhere with that, to be honest with you, but that's not necessarily his fault. As we've all said, the Jets are the Jets. At this point, until we see some regime change at the owner position, I'm not sure if the Jets are ever going to be saved. But he still was casted out by them, sent around multiple teams in the NFL, between Carolina to San Francisco to Minnesota, all as backups, finally got a shot in Minnesota. And one of the questions that I've always wondered is, does he hold any ill will or, have a vendetta against any of these teams? I know a lot of players do. They hold a little bit of a sour taste in their mouth for teams that cast them off, and rightfully so. You want to be loyal to a team. You want to be loved by a city. That is one of these athletes' biggest goals in life. If you play professional sports, most of the time you've envisioned yourself as the hero of a city at some point. So obviously being cast off by multiple teams would make you think he must have a lot of vendettas. Well, one of the reporters got to ask him that question yesterday, and here was Sam Darnold's answer to if he holds any ill will towards any of those teams that cast him off.
I think it doesn't really come down to that for me. It's always just been about putting in the hard work every single day. And sometimes hard work and all the dedication and hours I've put in the off season, during the season, that just, it leads to this moment, and that's kind of the mindset I have, and really the mindset I've had my entire career.
I love the mentality and the fact that he has learned from things in his past, goings with different teams. Dude, does that make it move the needle at all if we think that he has the right mindset going into this game? Not necessarily, but in my opinion, it makes it feel like at least he's at peace and can just sit there and say, I have started anew. I have become Seattle's savior, hopefully. We'll see what happens after this season.
Yeah.
But do you think Seattle will be the next team to just cast him off? Because, again, they are being sold as we speak. This will most likely be one of the first times, I think, in sports history we've seen a team win a championship and then immediately get sold to somebody else.
It's the best time to sell.
It is. So
sell when it's hot. I personally think with Darnold, I think he wins the Super Bowl. I think he finds his home. I
hope so.
I think he stays with Seattle. I'm still shooken up that Minnesota let him go, because I personally don't blame Darnold for what happened with the Vikings last season. I understand the shadow that has been behind Sam Darnold about, is he a playoff quarterback, or is he, can he play in the postseason? I personally think they were stacked with injuries.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, when you draft a quarterback like they did with JJ McCarthy so high in the draft, the fans, the coaches, the owners want to see what they get out of him. But considering what Darnold did in Minnesota last season, I was surprised that they let him walk.
Well, and that's why I'm kind of scratching my head here, because we've seen flashes of that for Sam throughout his career. Even in the bad times with the Jets, there were still flashes of Sam looking really good for the Jets. Now, we all remember the bad parts because the internet loves to highlight negativity. Let's be honest. Everybody just keeps bringing up, oh, he saw ghosts. Okay. But that was a one-game situation in which he was getting beat up left and right in that game. And there aren't a lot of quarterbacks that I have watched in my lifetime that wouldn't be having the same pressure in their own head.
Yeah,
He's
we
not
saw it with
Tom
the Hall
Brady.
of Fame quarterback go in there
Exactly.
and do the same thing.
So really, is Sam that bad? Or are people just giving up on him too quickly? Is he just been caught up in this entire new craze in the NFL where if you aren't a young quarterback that gets it right away, like a CJ Stroud, they just cast you off into nothingness? Because that is really the trend that we have been seeing the last couple of years. If you are not the savior, they move off of you very quickly. But I really like what Sam Darnold has been able to show in his career. I mean, we talked about, you're highlighting what he did in Minnesota. I think this year in Seattle trumps anything he did in Minnesota. And that's why I keep thinking to myself, because I have heard this around the internet and around some talking head shows on television, but would Seattle do the same thing?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Not if they won it. Not if he won them the Super Bowl. If they lose, of course they'll hold that over his head, especially if he has a bad game.
They also don't have a number one pick right behind him.
No, I'm not saying they pick
biting at the lip. I personally think Darnold's found a new home, and I think he fits in perfectly with what McDonald is serving up in Seattle.
Right. And and with the offense that they've been able to pull off with Kubiak, unfortunately, you're not going to have that next year. It really works out.
I don't think a lot of changes.
I would hope not, but with offensive coordinators leaving, we've seen changes we've seen teams change without wanting to. I mean, look at Detroit.
Well, there's like 20 other coaches that left.
True. The other side of this, though, the oblique injury, has he been fully healed? Is this something that we should be concerned about? I mean, we've talked about Drake May and his shoulder injury, but the oblique thing from a couple weeks ago, no one's really talked about since that Rams game. Here's what Sam Darnold had to say about the injury and whether he's 100% or not.
Yeah, I think, first of all, it feels really good. Definitely the time off has helped a little bit. But, yeah, I think, I'm always just going to take it one step at a time, do my rehab, do everything I need to do to make sure it feels great going into practice and going into the game, obviously, on Sunday. But, yeah, it feels great. And, but again, it's just one thing to add to the routine. And I think making sure I keep the routine the same as I would if we were in Seattle, just practicing on a day-to-day basis here in the hotel is going to be very important this week.
So we talked a lot about Drake May yesterday and needing to be efficient like he has been throughout the regular season, but not in the postseason. And we've obviously highlighted the injuries between both of these quarterbacks. But if he has a bad game, do you think people will just go and say, well, he had an oblique injury, or are we just going to shy away from that because of what he looked like with the Rams?
That's the tough question. I think they can always use the injury as, part two if they have a backup plan if he does. Right. I mean, I personally don't think. I mean, anything could happen. It could all land on Darnold at the end, but I mean, it's the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's 30 other teams. I'm wearing a jersey right now with the team that's sitting at home watching it. I think if a lot of teams had the quality and mindset quarterback, I think a lot of other teams would be a lot better, sitting in a lot better situation if they had a quarterback like Darnold. Mm-hmm. I personally think it's really gonna on which quarterback steps up. And like we talked about yesterday, I think it's really going to rely on the running game.
Right. And that is a key highlight of what Vrabel was talking about. And we'll get to that audio in a second of how they're going to attack this Seattle team, because Seattle is one of the best play action teams in football. And if you allow Kenneth Walker to get going, that means that play action game is going to be lethal. And looking into the team a little bit more, I didn't realize this until I did my research yesterday. 80% completion rating with play action passes in the red zone. 80%. That means they're most likely scoring 80% of the time in the red zone with a play action pass. That's incredible to me. And again, I know it's just a completion rating, like he's completing the passes, but realize that that is the last 20, maybe 10 yards of the field. You really don't think a team that usually throws deep in a play action situation isn't throwing into the end zone? So a good amount of the time, they are going to be looking at the play action game in order to score the football. And that's what Clint Kubiak loves to do. That's one of the biggest highlights of this offense. They are the second, or I believe the first. I have to look into second in play action rate at about 63%. So you're going to be seeing a lot of play action. You're going to be seeing a lot of running. And maybe that doesn't make for exciting football for some people. But like we told you guys yesterday, this is most likely going to be a chess game between two defensive-minded coaches of how they can address and really break down each other's defenses to stop the opposite team's offensive coordinator, who is a brilliant mind in their own right. And let's shift over to Drake May because he's the other side of this coin. When you are a quarterback in your second year in the NFL, one, you're not thinking to yourself, I'm going to be in the Super Bowl, but this kid, incredibly humble throughout all of his questions and answers. And you could tell the mindsets between him and Sam are very similar. They're very humble people. They love ball and honestly love their coaches and just trust everything their coach says. And it has bared plenty of fruit for them throughout this season. The going into the game day situation, it just seems like another day for most of these Patriots. I kept listening to all of their answers between Drake May, Stephon Diggs, Christian. I mean, they all had the same mentality. I'm not changing anything, not doing anything different. Not even Vrabel. They kept asking Vrabel, what have you taken from your experience as a player and given to these players? And all he's saying is, honestly, I don't even remember it. All I could tell you is I'd tell them to capitalize on every situation. But if you don't believe me, hear it from Drake May. This is his focus going into game day.
We came out here for a reason, and we came out here to win the football game and win the Super Bowl. And knowing that all my chips are going towards that, and knowing that that's the most important thing right now, and what I'm doing in life, and being out here in a new state and a new city, and just trying to find my rhythm and find a kind of plan to try to execute and treat things the same as we're going throughout the week and preparing for a game on Sunday.
It's the same old, same old. You wouldn't expect any other answer from a starting quarterback in any other game. That is incredible to me because that shows me that the mindset is calm. It is demeanor. It is just, we're going to focus on what we can do and win the game that way. Do you think that works, or you think that's going to shoot them in the foot, Spark? Because personally, I think going into a Super Bowl calm probably works for this team.
I think it's just a lot of training. I think that is the mindset. And, Super Bowl or, Radio Row the whole week, they're being asked the same, handful of questions. And I think it's just a lot of training. And we got into that a lot deeper yesterday when we got into, having a Super Bowl caliber coach, with Vrabel that lived through it, played through it. And now he's coaching through it. And I think that's just a great mindset. And I think that's one of the main reasons why New England is in the position they're in.
Oh, 100%. And the experience can't be slept on. We talked about Vrabel, but again, Daily Dave yesterday called in and put up a great point. McDaniel's been in 10 Super Bowls now.
Yeah, this is nothing new.
This is nothing new for these two. So obviously the championship pedigree is exactly what Robert Kraft was hoping for when they fired Mayo and went to go get Vrabel so quickly. But I think that's what that's what impresses me so much, though, is that the mindset is the same throughout everybody. Stephon Diggs even had the same mindset. I'm not changing anything I'm doing from a week-to-week basis. That's literally what he said. And honestly, I wish I could share the whole interviews with you guys on what questions these reporters are asking, because I'm not gonna lie, a lot of them are head scratchers. I really don't get it. One of the reporters for some reason asked Stephon Diggs about Lindsey Vaughn in her ACL situation. I was like, what? Really?
Throwing the change-ups.
And one of them asked Mike McDonald about ice. I'm like, why? What? What are you doing here? You clearly aren't here to cover the game. Go home. But again, a lot of these questions are just impressed me from top to bottom with the Patriots. All of them, same mindset, very cut and dry. Even Will Campbell, the rookie tackle, which we didn't get to because I didn't cut the audio, but all he was really talking about was the most you got out of him was the story about him and Vrabel talking as a rookie going into the draft and how they had a 4-hour dinner down in the bayou. That was pretty much the only thing they talked about outside of, oh no, just cut and dry, same old stuff every single day. Is this the Patriot way that everybody's talking about? Is this what it is? Just the simple mindset of just going in, doing your job? Yeah. Yeah, it is. And it's alive and well in New England. It really is. The other thing that I wanted to highlight, though, as a second-year quarterback, we've talked about it ad nauseum, but Drake May obviously up for the MVP award. That will be announced, I believe, tonight, right?
Yep.
In the NFL honors. So we will find out if it'll be Drake May or Matt Stafford. Those are the two runaway favorites right now, even though the other three candidates had fantastic seasons. Christian McCaffrey, Trevor Lawrence, and I believe Josh Allen was the other one. But it's going to come down to Matt Stafford or Drake May. We had a texter yesterday bring up a point that he was hoping Drake would lose so he would take that momentum and take that drive and take it into the Super Bowl and say, if I'm not going to win the league MVP, I'm going to win the Super Bowl MVP. I agree with him there, but this is Drake May's thoughts on if he loses this award to Matt Stafford this year.
I'll be stoked for Matthew. You know, I mean, what a career. You know, what a year he's had. You know, more importantly, you know, speaking on the year he's had, you know, played at a really high level. You know, really every game you saw him, you know, making throws and making plays and, you know, leading that team at such a high level. You know, what a year is you know, watching him on tape it's always fun. You know, try to watch the Rams when they're kind of on crossover film because he makes, you know, just plays and plays the quarterback position the right way. And I appreciate that about, you know, quarterbacks in this league that, you know, I'm really fond of, and Matthew's one of them. So, you know, be congrats to him and on a great year and knowing that, you know, he's one of the best that's played this game.
God, he's so humble. It makes me sick. But, I mean, that's a good thing if you're a young quarterback or if you're a fan of this team, because that means he's going to be going in with a humble mindset probably throughout the rest of his career. But to bring up the point again that a texter brought in yesterday, does this make you feel any different that he might or might not take this personally and use it as fuel? I don't think it's going to. I think he'll still use it in some ways, but maybe not to the extent where he comes out angry.
And if he does, we won't hear about it.
No.
Because these players are trained to talk, and there's a reason that we don't hear crazy sound clips out of New England.
This is true.
That's just one of those things.
If there is one team that media trains their team better than anybody else in the NFL, it has to be the New England Patriots.
And that's probably why some of these reporters are trying to catch him offhand,
maybe
with these crazy ass stories or crazy ass questions.
You might be absolutely onto it there on Sparks.
Let's see if we can get him off.
Yeah, we could throw him off if we don't ask him a sports question. And I don't. You're absolutely right on that one. Maybe that's it. We'll get into the other stuff on the other side of the break. I'm actually glad you brought that up, though, Sparky, because one thing that I did want to highlight that we're going to talk about today at some point, too, if I can get some time, is Michael Penix came out and addressed all of the pressure situations, and Stephen A. Smith coming out and saying that they should regret drafting him and blah, 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 blah. I have some conflicting feelings I want to share with everybody, and you guys could tell me if I'm crazy, but we'll get into that at some point in time, because the reason I'm bringing this up is you're talking about these guys being media trained and you don't get that out of them. A social media post on Instagram calling everybody out for doubting you. There are so many good and bad things with that. And that's why I'm conflicted. So we'll talk about that at some point too, because I'd love to get your thoughts. And your new offensive coordinator just came out and praised Tua. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that as well, just in case he may not be leaving.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Honestly, this is the early bird special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. We're also streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Thank you all for joining us, no matter what platform you are on. Quickly, let's get through the rest of these talking points in the NFL so we can shift over to the NBA, because there have been a handful of trades that happened since yesterday that we got to talk about, including the Mavericks finally cutting ties with Anthony Davis after 31 games.
This guy.
They got more draft picks for Anthony Davis than they did for Luka.
Yeah, it's
hot. What?
I can't. I mean, we'll get into it in a minute. But
you know what? No, you know what this is?
I just can't believe this guy still has value.
You know what this is, though? This is the value of a good general manager, because Nico screwed you, and this trade proves it. But again, we'll get into that later. Real quick, let's hear it from the coaches. This is Coach Vrabel about attacking Seattle's play action offense.
You have to be able to transition. If you don't pressure and you don't time up the pressure with play action, again, they're trying to get people blocking at the line of scrimmage. They're trying to marry their run actions with this system, which as far back as I can remember in this system, and Clint's done a great job of marrying their run actions each week. It's difficult to prepare for. So you get linebackers that are now coming up to the line of scrimmage, opening up passing lanes at the second and third level. And usually finding ways to protect the quarterback with 7 guys in there. So big thing for us has always just been about transitioning and making sure that, we're able to get back, we're able to panic when we're not pressuring, and that we're able to get into those throwing lanes.
So at this point, Seattle is ranked second in run pass or play action rate, which is about 63%. That means that they go from a run play to a play action play about 63% of the time. Sam Darnold has about 1,560 yards this season. 43% of the passes have been deep throws. If they go about this and try to isolate one side of the ball, because in my opinion, that's kind of how you stop the play action side. You either have to isolate the run play or you have to isolate the pass play and make it absolutely non-usable for the offense. What side do you think will be easier for Seattle to do that, my friend? I think it's going to be the run side.
I mean, that's tough. I think the secondary will be fine, especially with the rookie corner that's been stepping up for the last couple months. But yeah, I would probably agree with that.
My biggest key matchup in this game, at least on the defensive side for the Patriots, is Christian Barmore, the defensive tackle, and how he is going to be able to deal with Gray Zabel on the other side for Seattle. Gray Zabel is the number one interior offensive player for run blocking in the league, and he's a crazy good pass blocker as well. And Barmore is a top 10 run pass block, shedder. He gets through, is my point. So if Barmore can somehow find a way to beat Zabel on a good amount, or at least a 60% basis, I would say 50%, and stop this run game with Kenneth Walker, I apologize, I think that you have a pretty good shot at least stalling out this play action game for the Seattle Seahawks. Now, on the opposite side, you have Seattle trying to contain a dual threat quarterback in Drake May, an MVP quarterback in Drake May. He's seen a lot of defenses do it throughout the playoffs, including Houston and Denver, but they still lost. So this is Coach McDonald on how he plans to address a dual threat quarterback like Drake.
You have to play great football. They're a really good offense. They're really complimentary. If you don't force them to, they'll run it every snap. So you got to be able to control the game and put it on our terms. And then the thing that makes Drake so dangerous, in addition to a lot of other quarterbacks in our league, is in addition to the arm talent, the processing, and the movement. He's got a playmaking ability late in plays. So we got to be relentless in how we play, and we talk about 12-1 with our rush, but sorry, but that threw me off. But he likes to escape up the middle, so we got to build the wall. Everybody work together and play relentlessly.
Hey, Coach. In Week 16, in that Thursday night game against the Rams, to win overtime, you elected to play defense first, and that worked out. In this,
my bad. There's another question that I left in there, but you heard him say it. You got to at least contain him and not allow him to run up the middle. Drake May has over 670 yards throughout this entire playoff run, 5 touchdowns. He is a dual threat, and he is the biggest threat on this offensive side. Spark, do you think that this is going to be possible for this dark side defense to slow him down?
I don't think the quarterback issue is gonna be the
main issue.
The main issue. I'm gonna die and live by it. I think this game is gonna come down to the running backs. I think Stevenson, how he's been running through the postseason. I mean, we've seen how Drake May has played in the playoffs. He's got to cut down the turnovers, and I think Stevenson and Henderson on both ends. I think they're going to lead this team. If they win, it'll be behind them and those play actions we talked about. And I think it's the same thing on the other end. I think if Kenneth Walker runs the ball against New England's defense like he has throughout the season, I think it'll be a go ticket for the Seahawks. I really don't think it's going to be coming down to Darnold and May. I think it's really going to be Walker and really, I mean, even on the receivers, I think Diggs and Nigba and all these other guys, like I've been saying, I think it's going to be that dark horse, whether it's Mac Hollins that steps up in the New England side, or if it's Cooper Kupp on the other end. With just I'm not talking statistics. I'm just thinking, these big third down catches, they keeps the chains moving. But I really think it's going to be in the backfield.
No, that's fair. And this defense has done a great job on both sides of that as well. That's why I'm wondering if they can even do that. If New England can really beat this defense in a run game situation without using Drake May, because the reason they beat Denver, in my opinion, is because Drake was able to use his legs so well. If Drake wasn't able to run the football, they don't win that game, especially against a team that is the number 1 pass rush team in NFL. Seattle is, I believe, 5th, if I'm not mistaken, 4th or 5th. But when it comes to run stopping, I should say, they're 3rd. They are one of the best defenses on both sides of that coin, which makes me believe if you're going to beat this team, it's going to be a lot of option plays rather than just straight up runs with Stevenson and Henderson.
I mean, they've both played tough defenses, tough rush defenses, and the running backs have played well. I really think both teams have a great offensive line, and I think these teams are so damn similar.
Yes,
that's the weird thing I think it's going to be, one drive that changes it all, or that one turnover at the wrong time that's really going to cost one of these teams.
You just said it right there. The fact that these two teams are so dang similar is what really weirds me out. But then again, maybe this is just the next level of football. Yeah, the next formula to win. A humble quarterback that can be a dual threat, a play action offense where you have to worry about the quarterback either running or throwing it deep, and a defense that can stop you at any point in time and cause turnovers. That is winning football, in my opinion. So maybe that is the next formula the NFL is going to cover. Moving off of the Super Bowl real quick, though, we had 3 offensive coordinator hirings yesterday. I want to get your thoughts on all 3 of them. Frank Reich is back in the NFL. He'll be headed to the Jets. Matt LaFleur has chosen Nathaniel Hackett as his new offensive coordinator out there in Arizona. And the Steelers have found theirs after Arthur Smith departed for Ohio State. And Brian,
don't even try it.
Angelicio, I believe. Sure. We'll go with that. Do any of these move the needle for you at all? Frank Reich going to the Jets is interesting to me just because of his past as a head coach, but he wasn't very successful, to be fair. And Nathaniel Hackett, another name that most people might remember just because of his connections with a certain veteran quarterback that's still trying to figure out his future. But does this move the needle for Arizona at all as well? LaFleur is an offensive-minded guy, so you would assume that he would pick somebody that at least runs an offense like he would run it. So I would think this is a good move.
Yeah, I mean, out of all 3 of them, I like the one in Arizona. The Jets one is just...
The Jets, until I am proven otherwise, are not making good moves in any way.
Somebody has to take this job.
Yes.
So good for you, Frank. And really, with the Steelers,
As long as you move away from that offense you were running last year, I think you'll be okay.
And I mean, with the coordinator coming from Minnesota, you know, I mean, we've seen good things out of the Minnesota offense for the last few years, not last year, but you know, he's has a long tenure with Mike McCarthy. He's worked with him for years. So it was one of his guys. So it could be a positive thing for Pittsburgh moving forward. But yeah, I mean, that's not a lot that really changes my thoughts on either of the three teams.
You know, my thing when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers job, if we're going to keep picking offensive coordinators that focus on tight ends, can you get him a tight end to really use? I love Freiermuth. Keep him. He is
Jonnu?
fantastic. They never used Jonnu like we thought they were going to last year, and that was in an Arthur Smith offense.
That's what we thought.
I don't think he wants to play in Pittsburgh because remember, we were hearing those stories as well that there were people that weren't showing up to meetings and all of that, and there was heavy speculation that was Jonnu Smith.
Yep.
So, again,
it was a career year in Miami, and he got paid.
If we get somebody that could focus on getting the most out of tight ends, can we at least get a tight end with some flashiness in Pittsburgh?
And who's going to be the quarterback?
That is another question that everybody is still trying to figure out. But they have a possibility here of another good name entering the draft portal here in the next couple months if the NCAA doesn't lean up on this. Because if you didn't hear, Trinidad Chambliss of Ole Miss got denied again for his 6th year of eligibility. And we all knew this was coming because of the NCAA's outward expression of saying, hell no, he can't stay. I don't get it, though. Everybody else that asked for a medical clearance because of some crazy illness they had that took them out for the entire year, most of the time, the NCAA, I shouldn't say most of the time, but a good amount of the time, the NCAA will look at it and say, okay, that wasn't fair. That took it away from you. We'll give you a year. Especially when it's one of the biggest names of the biggest money drawing sport in your entire organization.
All right.
So this is a head scratcher to me because if I'm in the NCAA and I'm sitting there thinking we have the possibility of having not one, not two, not three, but about a dozen quarterbacks who are all recognizable by name, all playing in 1 year, going for a championship. The entire line of top 12 teams in the playoff next year could all be led by a very well-known quarterback. And for the first time in a long time. So why are they so up in arms about Trinidad wanting 1 more year? And again, this battle's not going to end. His lawyers are very much looking to take this further and go above the NCAA, even if they have to go to Supreme Court levels.
Yeah, that's what I heard this morning is that they'll take it to the limit.
Oh, heck yeah, they will. So this will all be highlighted again about the hypocrisy of the NCAA and why they have a vendetta against certain players and not others. It just doesn't make sense to me, though. This kid's one of the biggest money grabbers in all of NCAA, unless they're really worried that this kid just says, bye, Ole Miss, and jumps over with Lane.
The transfer.
I don't think he will. He's been very vocal about saying he doesn't want to go anywhere. Ole Miss is the team that gave him that shot, so he wants to stay there.
Gave him the opportunity.
Yeah, but money talks, especially these days in NCAA. So we'll see what happens when it comes to Trinidad. But all of that being said, Pittsburgh's got options. I mean, you could go to the free agency market, go find Justin Fields. Again, you laugh, but it worked.
No, it didn't.
It worked a little bit. A little bit.
A little bit.
It worked better than Aaron.
Yeah, not with the new coach. I don't think McCarthy, Fields, and all the change-ups. I don't think Fields is the guy that you're keeping your eye on when you're building a new regime.
No, this is absolutely fair. But again, I'm just saying,
you might as well throw in Anthony Richardson if you're going to throw in quarterbacks like that.
Not off the table, though. That's what I'm saying. In today's NFL, everybody's looking for that next quarterback that is going to be redeemed by going to a different team and playing for a different coach. So it is not off the table that Anthony Richardson could be that answer for Pittsburgh. It's not off the table that, oh God, who's the backup in New England, or who was the backup in New England that everybody loved and then they shipped him to Dallas? Milton.
Yeah.
Joe Milton could get a shot. I mean, Malik Willis could get the shot. We don't know.
Malik's going to get a shot.
That's what I'm saying. So every team is looking for that.
Kyler Murray.
Pittsburgh's got options. We'll see what they end up doing.
Well, speaking of options, I'm glad you teased it earlier, but what do you think of all this Penix talk?
Okay, so as quickly as I possibly can, because I know we're running out of time. We have to go to a break. I won't even play the Stephen A. Smith bite because it's just Stephen A. going off on Penix, or not even going off on Penix, but going off on the situation. But what he said does have a lot of fairness in it. Michael Penix's knees are so bad he can't even get under center. Let me say that again. He plays quarterback and he cannot go under center at all. That is a glaring weakness to any offense because that limits you no matter what. You can't take every snap in shotgun as much as the spread offense would like to make you, believe you can. Yet you can't do it at the pro level. It doesn't work. Plus, bad knees means you can't run. So unless you got Tom Brady-esque release time, it's not going to help. So there are arguments that say that the Falcons should regret, quote unquote, drafting Michael Penix. Do I believe that? Hell no. I think the kid's fine. I think the kid's looked fine. He's had moments looking bad, sure, but he's also had moments looking really good. Is the knee injury concerning? Hell yeah, because he had 2 tears in the right ACL and now 1 in the left. I am absolutely worried. But I have faith in the kid. I'm on one side of this coin. Now, the thing that I don't like is the fact that Michael has come out and released a statement on Instagram with a AI-made picture, I can only assume, of him looking badass in a Falcons uniform, pretty much calling out all the haters, saying it's crazy for some of you to think that, that I'm going to quit or anything. I'll never buckle in the face of pressure. And part of this I like. I'm going to read this word for word just so you don't think I'm taking this out of context. And I quote, this is from Michael Penix. Some people might think I'm crazy or say I would have quit a long time ago, but that will never be me. That ain't how I was raised. I'm forever going to stand 10 toes and show why my God is almighty and will never put me in a situation that I can't get through. Again, really motivating stuff, right? Fantastic to hear. We love hearing that as fans. I come from the mud. I ain't get here by mistake. I never had handouts. My road to success was never easy, and I'll still just scratching the surface. Again, great stuff. I'm still scratching the surface. Love hearing that. But then there's the end of this that really concerns me, and that's why I'm conflicted. It says, and I quote, "How can you ever be mad at me when all I ever try to do is feed my family? How can you tell me I can't do something and you don't know what it took for me to get there? I am a walking testimony, not too many people can say they've been through what I've been through and still have the determination to keep on going." That sounds like a pity party now. That's why I'm conflicted. Because on one side of this as a fan, you're hearing fire and passion and you love that. Heck yeah, that means this kid's coming with a chip on his shoulder. And if there's one coach that can probably figure out how to get the most out of a quarterback with a chip on his shoulder, it's Kevin Stefanski, because he did it with Baker Mayfield, right? So, positives. Negative of this, though, and again, text in and tell me if I'm crazy before we go to a break. This also shows me that the pressure's getting to you and you're cracking. Because rarely, and I mean rarely, and this doesn't go in sports, this goes for everybody listening to my voice right now. If you are upset and you post something on social media about it, it never goes the way you think. Nobody ever rallies to you and says, "Yeah, you're right. You're the man." No, it usually breeds more hate, and it usually shows a sense of insecurity. So maybe I'm crazy, but I don't want Michael Penix at least addressing it this way. Address it like a professional athlete. Work out, have a media member show up at your workout and say, "Yeah, I heard what was said, but I'm not letting it get to me. If they don't believe in me, if you don't believe in me, then stay there. But I'm going to show everybody next year exactly what I can do."
Yeah, and I mean that's what we've seen. We talked about it like the Patriot Way or these teams that are in the Super Bowl and how well they're trained.
Yes.
And we see our teams. I see it in the same thing with Miami for the last 4 years. Every time Tua or Tyreek get up on a mic, I'm like, oh God.
Yes.
Like, because I know they're not trained right with the robotic answers that they need to be put out. But yeah, you don't go to social media with the
or at least ended a sentence early. Like, don't put the last part in there. Okay, the part about how can you question me when all I'm trying to do is feed my family? Stop.
dot.
That makes you sound like a pity party. That makes it sound like you're attacking me as a person. No, what they're attacking is the fact that you have 2 bad knees and you're limiting an offense. And at this point right now, you haven't shown anybody that you are at least a for sure starting quarterback. So everybody has a right to at least question you being a quarterback going forward. But again, addressing things on social media, especially, unless you're just clearing out your social media of all things of a certain team just to send a message that you don't want to be there anymore, that's probably about the extent of where an athlete should take social media presence in this way. Address it through the media. Go to a reporter or a press conference and say, I heard it. I don't hold any ill will towards Matt Ryan towards it because he really didn't say anything. All he did was deflect the answer. But don't go to Instagram. Come on, kid. Be smarter than that, or at least in my opinion. But please feel free to chime in 661-842-2000 if you want, or chime in on YouTube and Twitch in the comment section down below. We will address them on the other side of the break before we get to our first guest of the day, which will be Mr. Anthony Jauregui. And then we got Bolt Brady right after that as well. And then we'll get to all these crazy NBA trades before the end of the show as well. Anthony Davis finally moved from Dallas, and Dallas got more for him than they got for Luka Doncic. Make it make sense. Honestly. Let's take a break. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Please tell me this is the oh. Welcome back to the early bird special. I gotta nope.
Well, I've been in radio long enough.
I know. I love this song, but I'm just like, this is one of the ones from Nine Inch Nails where I'm just like, no, can't hear it in public. I'm good. We got some text messages real quick.
We got a couple. The first one says, "Oh, was Kubiak the OC when Gino was in Seattle? As a Raider fan, keep hearing that he is in love with Gino and he wants him to be the guy next year. And if we lose Crosby, I will cry."
Honestly, I think a lot of Raider fans will cry if you lose Crosby, but this has been writing on the wall for a couple years now, folks.
Especially when you bench him.
Yeah, I mean, you need to figure out how you can get the most out of this team before it's too late, because if you don't this year, it's over. It's OVA.
I'm gonna tell you, from a guy that's been in the locker room, and that guy is the last person to come out, and you can read it all over his face.
He is
done, dude.
I think he loves the franchise. I think he
he
wants
did.
to be successful.
I think he did.
But I think you're right. I think the frustrations have mounted so much that it's just over with. He can't do it. And no, Clint was not the OC when Gino was there. He was in New Orleans when Gino was in Seattle. So it's not a connection like that at all. So if you don't like Geno Smith, more than likely you will be moving off of him next year and going with a quarterback in the draft. But again, I don't blame Gino for what happened here. I really don't.
And Gino's under contract. You might have both.
I mean, it's entirely possible. He could be the Kirk Cousins for your team. Just sit there and, wait until this rookie blows out his knee. You got another one, or is that it? That's it. Okay. Well, real quick before we have to go to a break and we'll get our guests in here. Baseball news for you as Tarek Skubal and the Tigers have a very interesting ruling coming down today, as both of them are looking for an incredible salary arbitration, a record-setting salary arbitration. For those of you who don't know what arbitration is, player comes in with what they believe they should be paid, team comes in what they believe they should be paid, both present it to a board, the board decides, okay, it's either that one, or somewhere in the middle. Tarek Skubal is asking for $32 million, well-deserved for probably the best pitcher in baseball outside of Shohei Ohtani. The Tigers, 19. Oh, we are way off. And Dodger fans just started salivating. Thanks, Detroit. Let's take a break. We'll get to our guests on the other side. We got a Packer fan coming in here, and Anthony Jauregui, and then Bolt Brady from Bolt Brady and His Bro. Right after that, give you all the bets you should be looking for the Super Bowl this weekend. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Sparky back in here. Early bird special right here on KGEO Sports Talk.
You don't have to. I mean,
no. Well, we do actually, because all the audio gets fed through you. So it's
not a problem.
necessary. No, you are part of this. You know damn well. We are back.
Did you find out what was in Anthony's chin?
It was a pimple patch, apparently.
Yeah, it's a pimple patch. I don't know what it is.
A pimple patch.
I don't know. It might be
That's what I
herpes. It might be herpes.
Dude,
Honestly.
well, you could kind of
Put a little toothpaste on it.
Yeah, that'll help. That'll
It does.
make
No, it
clean.
does actually. That's
On herpes.
no.
I don't know about
on your
herpes,
pimple,
bro, but-
fool.
Oh, I thought we were talking about a burn. When you get burned, you put toothpaste on it. Not that.
No, that's
acne.
butter.
You put a little toothpaste on it, it'll dry it up real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last thing I need to be called is pizza face with toothpaste. I don't need
You
to
could
put.
do it
Well,
before you go to sleep.
You're a
True.
cheesehead. You might as well be a pizza face.
Yeah, but
Right.
I'd rather put cheddar all over my face than toothpaste. That has fluoride.
Don't make me call.
So
Beth.
does your
She'll bring you
water.
the grater again.
Yeah, so does water, but Parmesan does not have fluoride, nor is it the cheese that the Packers are. Daniel Betts, Mr. Grabbing Parmesan
Did
from
we
Olive
ever
Garden.
figure out what cheese it is?
It
that's
was
on top of the head?
white.
I know you didn't share, so
No. I meant more like what is a Packers cheese
Cheddar.
head? Is it cheddar?
cheddar is
Yellow. It's yellow.
yellow cheese.
Yellow cheese.
So
that
yes,
narrows it down.
Yes, for my teenage son, it is cheddar.
Yeah, it's whatever yellow cows produce.
I got a lot of crap because I say it's Sizzler bread, and it's like they're cheese bread. I'm like, it's Sizzler toast.
Yeah,
Sizzler toast.
I mean, I don't
I've
see.
never heard anybody call it Sizzler toast. Though.
My
That's
wife
good.
will roll us up like it's Sizzler toast. Can you make Sizzler toast with spaghetti tonight? And she's like,
You
"It's
mean
cheese
cheese
bread, you
bread?
idiot?
Yeah,
I'm like, whatever.
I've never heard. Yeah, Sizzler toast sounds like
Which is Parmesan.
that's Parmesan.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is
Okay,
Parmesan
see?
cheese.
They
There you
wrap it with butter with the Parmesan before they wrap it and bake it.
Oh,
It's good.
I'm not gonna think you're lying at all. I'm gonna
I'm
take your
not.
absolute word for it,
I'm
Sparky.
I
Yeah,
promise.
it's gone to
We were a
Sizzler.
Sizzler kid growing up.
I've been a Sizzler in 15 years, but I take your word for it.
We
Oh,
going
Lord.
Sizzler. We
Um,
going Sizzler.
I don't know if we actually introduced him, but the other voice you're hearing right now is comedian Anthony Jauregui, who comes in on every Thursday. Good to see you, sir. Have we gotten over the loss yet? Are we kind of over football?
I've been over football, but I literally
It's tennis time.
Did
yeah,
you
honestly.
see your defensive end though pretty much take everybody's breath away at the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, I did see Micah Parsons on the scooter. My favorite
It was
clip
the best part about that. Entire
honestly,
day.
my favorite clip is the one that's going viral of him recording the cheerleaders, and he's panning through the cheerleaders, and he gets to the male cheerleader, and he puts his camera down and just looks the other way.
I did hear
Oh.
from CeeDee Lamb saying that he's pushing to get
No.
Pickens over there in Green Bay.
It's not
Listen,
happening.
on the I'll speak on all Packers fans. As GP George Pickens is a little too thug to be on the Packers. We need dudes that are a little more chill. That'll take a week off because they're depressed, like Romeo Dobbs. You don't
Were
need a
you
guy.
not just in here saying that the Green Bay Packers
Okay.
needed to change the mentality?
Okay.
Were you not just
Okay.
in here saying you can't do the old Green Bay Packers?
Literally, as I was, as
But
you were,
not thug.
but not thugs?
no, as you were saying that, I was like, oh, I did say that. I gotta
Backtrack.
backtrack. But listen, I was wanting like he's like thug diva. He's like someone that'll rob you wearing red apple
Dude, he's
bottoms.
most of the laid back guys I've ever met.
No, I want. Is he? You
Yeah,
met
he
him?
is kickback cool
he
guy.
seems really chill, to be honest.
Have
Now
you
we've only
seen him on the field though? That's what I like. I
Look,
don't.
man, football's a passionate game. You
It
get
is.
excited.
It's a passionate, but I've seen him give up what is it, blocking just like because he's not getting the ball. I've seen him just
Right.
kind of.
Mhm.
And listen, I go half-assed on my job too, but when I'm
Look,
not,
man, I would rather have George Pickens doing that and still catching over 1,000 yards in a season than have a
He's-
receiver
he's
that
n-
can barely break 500
he's
yards.
not going to because that's just not our offense. And Devontae's not there. There's not a star. I don't see anybody getting there that's going to take any receiver away. I don't see GP getting there, and
You can take
That's a
Tyreek.
good point.
I don't.
No, there you
yeah,
go.
no, thanks. No, thanks.
You
You,
can
guys,
have
you guys can have him
No,
and his baby
we're
mama
done with him.
drama.
We're done with
Remember
him.
when he was arrested and it was like the biggest thing in
Yeah.
the news? and-
What? Which one? Which time? I was telling him in the first hour, I was like, every time Tua or Tyreek are not on the field, I'm worried
Yeah.
Right,
because I don't
right.
know if they're gonna say something, tweet something, or get arrested.
No, and then Tyreek is like playing video games and like while the
Cursing
two-
out
while the-
children. Yeah, the kid is crazy.
That's honestly, never mind. That's the kind of thug I want. I want like a
you want a video
dad.
game ghetto.
Yeah, I want someone that plays GTA and kind of takes care of their kids.
Well, like we've been
as a DJ
we've been
on the
texting
side.
the last week. I mean, it seems like
Yes.
Miami is turning into the Packers.
The Miami
So
Packers. Yeah.
I think if half your free agents will probably come into Miami, and you probably will get some of our guys. I don't know.
You got
what's
Bobby
going
Slowick
on.
now, though.
Slowick, who's that? That was
Bobby Slowick. That was the old OC for the Houston Texans when CJ was
Oh.
actually good.
So you guys got him as your OC?
Mhm.
Because I saw you.
But-
Nathaniel Hackett went to the Cardinals, right?
Yes.
So
Mhm.
what were you gonna say?
But the coach says he's doing the play calling.
Wait, what coach?
Our Dolphins coach is doing the play calling
Wait, which? But the
for the offense.
Jeff Hafley? No.
hmm
How is he calling? He's a defensive guy.
He is calling the offense, is exactly what he said. He
How,
will
if
be
he's a-
running both offense and defense. Both coordinators will be his assistants.
See,
no
this
way.
is why I'm.
No way. He
That
said
is
that.
the failure, I think, right there. Is you're taking too much of the responsibility.
I'm
You got to
sure
be
he'll
able to take
pass it
that
on
way.
once he's big guy right now. Let him live it up in Miami. Maybe he got a little, Miami,
He has boogers, guys. He has
introduction.
boogers.
You got
Yeah,
that
he's gonna
booger
clear his
sugar.
nose. It's not
You got that
rockets.
booger sugar, but maybe he's just hyped up, man. He hasn't been a head coach before.
He
Let the
just
guy.
does a line and he's just like, I'm ready to
I'm
coach
doing
everybody
everybody.
on the
Change-
team. I'm
hey,
special.
Is that what
teams."
changed Coach McDaniel? Was you guys
And then,
introduced him to
of
something that he
course.
wasn't supposed to be doing?
Uh-huh.
Is that what it
And-
is?
And now he's moved from the Miami Coke to the LA
Vice
Coke.
City, my
Yeah.
God.
I mean,
East Coast to West Coast.
I can't be upset. I mean, it's a new regime. The Dolphins will be the Dolphins. So
Yeah, I literally hadn't even heard that. So, and I trust you because you were in the getup.
we will see.
You guys aren't seeing this, but Sparky
He's
actually
got the
has
full.
I've got
he
a
has
Super Bowl
Nike
day.
Cortez
Oh, yeah.
Miami Dolphin
I got a
gear on. Like,
Potluck today. So we're all dressing up as football, and I'll live and die by my Dolphins, and it'll
This is true.
probably be sooner rather than later. But
no, it looks
let's
good.
get into some comedy because
Let's
I
do
know
it.
there is some big comedy shows beginning with Jim Norton tonight. There's a 6:30 and 9:30. This isn't a station giveaway, but if you look up Fins Up 84 on my Instagram, I do have some extra tickets because I won't be able to go tonight. But who is Jim Norton?
Dude, Jim Norton is one of the funniest guys based out of New York. He used to do a lot of these like radio shows with Opie and Anthony. He was like a guest, or have his own show. I don't know the specific name, but real dirty guy, and not in a clean way, but his material is very blue, obviously, right? And that we say that in the industry as just dirty,
Yeah.
but a lot of things you couldn't see on the radio, but that's good for late night, and but also he had a radio show and that was just like on Sirius, and it was like, I don't know if we could say Sirius.
Well, yeah, he was one of the beginners, wasn't he?
Exactly, like one of those, like I grew up listening to radio. I'm still growing up, but like I remember being young and like
Yeah.
that was one of the shows,
The
and
Jim
like,
Norton show.
and you'd
And that-
watch him and
And
Patrice-
Loveline.
Ooh,
Love Line. I forgot about Love
I
Line.
learned about herpes from Loveline.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
and how to take care of a baby. But listen, I think that dude, he's so funny. And again, if you're more into that like raunchy type humor, this is the comedian you want to come see. Like this is
Viewer
the-
discretion advised. Kind of stuff.
exactly. But the good, like the best of the best, and not like just someone who has dirty jokes. Like this guy's like renowned for like being that type of guy.
Check your girl for a first date type guys.
Go
check
with-
her thick skin.
Exactly. Like if your girl's down for, if you make jokes with her, like pushing her belly and calling her fat or something, then maybe your girl will be down for this. I know some couples are like that. I'm not, but but if your significant other is a little more soft skin, or they like, they're protesting ICE on the street right now, maybe don't go to the show tonight. It won't be
I
for
have
them.
heard ICE way too many times this morning.
I'm just saying. It's the topic.
Did you guys hear
conversation
Mike
wasn't good.
McDaniel get asked about ICE? No, I'm kidding. You said that earlier, but
And then Uncle Laser.
yes. Oh,
If you don't know who Uncle Laser is, who is Uncle Laser?
he's like,
Is he kind of the same type of comedy?
yes, but different. He's younger, so it's like Larry the Cable Guy
I was
when he
gonna
was
say
in
it's
his
very
20s.
Oil Daily kind of is the best way.
Well,
to put
this
it.
dude looks like he's from Oildale.
Yeah.
He's very
And that's
white.
what I mean by that. Like this is you wouldn't expect this guy to be coming from where he comes
And-
from.
and-
He looks like he's from our own backyard.
And I'm sure, this will make sense too. I'm sure you guys have some listeners that work in the oil fields. This guy was like an ex-oil field
Yes.
rig worker that kind of was just like, I'm gonna do comedy. So like, if you work in the oil fields, or if you're listening and you have this coworker that's like crazy raunchy, you're like, you should go do stand-up. That's how Uncle Laser basically got his start.
Yeah, that's a pretty good.
He was like a blue collar dude that was like, I'm tired of digging ditches. I'm gonna be 30 or whatever. I just want to go do comedy, and that's how, like, fast forward 5 years, he's like one of the biggest right now from Kill Tony,
Yeah.
And Kill Tony, again, one of the biggest comedy shows online.
And he'll be here in town Friday and Saturday.
7 p.m. shows, 2 shows. So you got to come check it out. Last time was fun. There was a dude that went on stage and did what is it called when you drink a beer out of a shoe?
Shoey. Yeah, a shoey.
He did a shoey, and it's funny because that dude was heckling Laser the entire show and basically was like, you got to shut up, come up here, and like made him do a shoey on stage. We clowned him. He spilled it all over himself, and he went back in his seat, and he's just like
falling over.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the foot fungus Atlee's foot that got him drunk extra, but yeah, it was gross, dude. My shoes are already soggy. I couldn't imagine putting a beer in there.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
The Australian UFC fighters really made that a thing, and I don't know why.
I don't know they had shoes in Australia. Oh, gross. Yeah,
it's like those the Beer Fest movie.
Yeah, well, that's a Das Boot. That's different. Das Boot is different.
You gotta like turn it. It's like,
that is a glass boot. No one's wearing that.
I don't know why I was watching that at 14, but I learned how to drink a big old boot of beer.
Yes. Beer Fest, man. That movie is a classic.
Well, I mean,
what anybody says.
The well opened up a couple weeks ago. How was the grand opening?
I saw you. I heard a whistle, hey, and I looked by, and Sparky's walking by, gives you the hello, dude. I was in the middle of it, dog. I don't know if you saw that.
I know.
There was the last weekend of Russell Peters shows was incredible, guys. Like, if you missed the shows, you missed out. Hopefully, we're gonna keep bringing the bang. But there was 400 people on the sidewalk at one point.
That's a beautiful thing, man.
Saturday night, yeah. And afterwards, there was no drugs, cans of dope. It was just pretty clean. It was pretty cool, and it was just cool to see all those people come out of the show and have a lot of people going in for a show. And I've been to a lot of comedy clubs in big cities, and that's what it's like. Like, you just have a lot of people coming out, and there's like, it's in this downtown area. But it's bustling. There's a car getting towed, or if you're a fire hydrant going off, like
guy piss on the side of the wall.
Exactly. Yeah. There's an old. Never mind, I'm gonna say that, but it's a vibe, dude. And I'm so grateful to be downtown.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Because I mean, the vibe. I mean, I remember the first show, and I remember the last show over when the well was on White Lane, and I mean, just being there, I know I've seen you there several times. I've seen you at other comedy shows, but how is the vibe? Being downtown, dude, now.
I'll just say this, like, I think it was Hans Kim weekend. Hans Kim was here, and he's again one of these guys from Kill Tony, and it was just cool because you had a Hans Kim show going on, and then Rob Schneider walks in,
right?
Because he's doing a show around the corner. And whether you're a fan of him or not, it's more the fact that anyone at the Fox would just be like, I'm gonna go check this out. And that's typically how comedy events are. I've heard a lot of these podcasts where it's like Mark Norman, Shane Gillis. These are two big names in comedy. Shane Gillis was headlining the Madison Square Garden, and Mark Norman, another huge name, was just like, hey, I'm gonna go watch. Like, I'm gonna go pop in. I have a show here. Or comics will be both in Cleveland, Ohio, and different venues, and they'll just pop into the other one's show and check it out. I think that is a great vibe to be downtown. You're there watching one comedian and 3 others show up, and they're like big names in comedy, and after Rob Schneider, this other guy, his name's Darren Carter, the Party Starter. He's been a comic for years, based out of Fresno, over 20 years, BET, all that stuff. He's hilarious. He just showed up on a night at Hans came with another guy because they were doing a private event at a country club here in Bakersfield, and they just stopped by.
Yeah, he's coming to the well here in a couple of weeks too, right?
And that's kind of like he showed up, said hi, and then Dan was like, "Hey, why don't you come do a show?" And as
get
comics,
over here.
Right? Like, get over here. Yeah, Scorpion.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
That's it. No, it's like, you're mine now. Yeah. So I think that is a great part of the vibe, is like, you're just downtown. You're in the middle of a lot of things. People can just show up. It can be exciting, and then you leave the doors, and it's not 55-mile-per-hour cars just whizzing by off a hill, and you're on White Lane. You're like, all right, I'm kind of faded, but let's drive to Yard House and risk a DUI. It's like, no, you don't have to do that anymore. It's like, hey, I'm kind of faded. I just left the comedy club. Let me walk over to Crash or Sandrini's and mellow out and have a smoke in the smoke room and then go home. I think that all is part of the vibe, and people were like, oh, the parking, is. that's just going to be a thing that you lose going downtown. But ultimately, I've already kind of got
parking garage. I
was
mean,
just
how
about to say, yeah, you guys have the
exactly.
garage right across the way.
and
You're
how,
right,
how
you're
the
right.
show is with your guys' show starting a little earlier than other shows over at whether the Fox or
Yeah.
somewhere else, whether it's Rabobank or whatever the hell it's called now.
Mhm.
I mean, I like the parking right there, and I can park there, and I can do my whole thing
Exactly.
in the
Get your
evening.
steps in,
And I can. I mean, if I'm planning on drinking, then I could Uber. It's not that difficult.
yeah. That's
There's
smart.
an
I
app
like
for
that.
it,
Yeah, there's a multiple too
But
of apps.
I'm gonna turn that question into. I mean, I did hear about Rob Schneider, and what was he dressed up as something?
A
That's
disco
just
ball is
that's
what
just kind of
Dan
his thing.
said.
Yeah, he
That's
had
how
a
he
really
dresses.
yeah. I literally looked at all the other stuff. I'm like, oh, that's just his suit that
That's
he
how he
wears.
wears.
Like, that's like
I
his
did
getup.
watch one of the newer Kill Tonys, and he was one of the
Yeah.
judges. And I
Mhm.
was like, oh god,
Yeah,
why
he
is
won-
Rob Schneider on here?
He
And
was
then he was
guest of the year.
He was kind of funny, dude.
Yeah,
I'm like, all right. But if he says you can do it one more time, I'm like, God, dude.
That's
you're just
kind
living
of
that
what
up.
made him, though.
I watched
kinda
him
like
as,
that, dude.
I remember him as the making copies. I'm old.
Oh,
Saturday Night
yeah,
Live.
that's true. Yeah.
But that's what I remember him
Yeah.
as. But with you being security front of the house and all of this, is there any ideas of getting back on stage?
Oh, dude, a huge announcement. Can I make it now?
Sure.
Do you have like a sound effect? You're like,
No.
okay, that's fine. Hosting the open mic, it starts again this Thursday, the 12th, at the Well Comedy
Oh, nice.
Club.
Okay.
So the open mic is back. I will be hosting that again. I was doing a lot at Tembler before. Thank you, Tembler. And then Ava's at the Fox Theater. Thank you, Ava's at the Fox Theater. And now we're back at the flagship comedy club where we can go past 9 p.m. I can get 35 comedians on the list. I can run it how I want and not have to be worried about upsetting our people that are allowing us to do the open mic.
Sure.
Not that that was a huge issue, but it feels great to be doing comedy in a place made for comedy, for stand-up comedy, for comedians. And we're going to make sure that it's a great show on Thursdays. And
so not today, but next Thursday.
Next Thursday, yes,
Okay.
because tonight is Jim Norton. But,
Yes.
next Thursday, and then hopefully the Thursdays after that there's no shows, we'll be doing the open mic. And also Friday night, Friday the 13th next week. Great friend of mine, I don't know, I think he might have been on your show, Nathaniel Webb.
Yep.
He and I are producing the first ever comedy showcase, Friday the 13th style, late night 9:30 show next Friday at the Well Comedy Club. So that'll be similar to an open mic in that there's a lot of comedians, but there's going to be a lot less comedians, maybe 13, and they're all going to be doing 7-minute sets, kind of like a showcase of the funniest people we've met over the last year, just on our travels, doing
Nice.
stand-up. We have dudes coming from Sacramento, the coast, Fresno, comics, so it's going to be a good time. And you may have seen a $5 funnies at the old comedy club, or just those cheaper $5 Friday shows. That's what we're going to hopefully start doing again, where it's like maybe you can't make it to Jim Norton where the tickets are, almost $50, but you could make it to the Friday the 13th comedy showcase where the tickets are about $20,
Nice.
with all in and everything. So
And you can get food there.
the food and drinks, man, and they got a lot of new menu items. I don't know if Dan's brought it up, but so we got like loaded nachos, we got cookies. I've stole a couple, but there, you go to comedy clubs, it's like a 2-drink minimum. You're like, I don't drink, man. I don't. There's a 2-item minimum at the comedy club, and look, there's a lot of options. So like you could get 2 drinks, or you could get 2 food items, or a food item and a drink, and a Red Bull and a soda, or a cocktail and some nachos and wings and stuff. So it's a good time, man. If you wanted to go eat and watch the show, you can do that, or go eat somewhere else and come drink there. But either way, we have it all. So
You hear that, Ghostface? Maybe that's our Valentine's Day this year.
There you go.
I'll be there, Paul Rodriguez.
Absolutely. Anything else before we let you go?
No, man. I think that's pretty much it.
Super Bowl? Any predictions?
Super Bowl prediction?
Can we say that on here? Isn't that
Yeah.
like
No,
This
you
is
can
the
say
home
it,
of the
so-
Super Bowl.
for real?
Yeah.
No, we
will be
are.
playing
No,
the
we
Super
absolutely
Bowl.
are. We broadcast the Super Bowl, so we could say it. The whole thing is if you can't say it if you're trying to sell something. So like if this is
okay.
like the Super Bowl pack, you can't do that.
Okay.
But
okay.
if you could, if we're talking about the Super Bowl, you can say Super Bowl.
Okay.
Now you know.
I don't. Yeah, for sure. I was like, I don't know if I could
Well, no,
say
because
it.
I've heard that like 8 times this week. It's like, you can't say Super. Yes, you can.
I was gonna say Superb Owl just to get out of it, and hopefully
Or
you guys do it.
Everybody's like the big game, but it's like,
Oh,
yeah, it's
shut
because you're
up.
selling something. Like if you're selling something and you call it the big game,
You're
fine.
having a podcast selling zins and hymns, dude. You shouldn't be.
Dude, that video, is that your dad that you're doing these videos with?
Yes, that's my dad. That's
When
my
you're a little
79-year-old dad.
Giving a little toot and he walks out with his food. I'm like, dude.
That was 10 years ago. It was a
dad alone.
It was a throwback Thursday. Someone even said, "Man, I've never seen your dad get up so fast," because I farted in the same room as him. Hey, check out my Instagram, guys. I'm doing videos of my dad to connect with him because he's going senile. So check it out. He's 79. Honestly, man,
Calling senile.
no, he's fine. That's just his nickname, senile. He saw the Nile River. He speaks Spanish. No, I think I want the Seahawks to win.
Really?
Yeah, and mainly because of Sam Darnold. I like this story of like people were casting him off. He left all these places, and there's nothing more I'd love to see than Sam Darnold win the Super Bowl after the Vikings let him
Here's
go.
the thing. I get what you're doing here.
I'm not doing nothing.
Here's the thing. I still ride by that. And I just think everybody is looking for an excuse not to cheer for the Patriots.
Yeah.
So anything we can cling on to that's not sitting there saying, yeah, no, Mike Vrabel has the better story.
I like Vrabel. I just hate the Patriots.
Exactly.
So, yeah, they've won a lot. And here's
they've
the
won
thing.
enough.
And there's the thing. This is like a little racist, guys. But
okay, hold on.
Listen, I heard Drake May supports ICE. No, I'm kidding.
That's 4. That's 4
we'll make it
times
6
I've
by
heard
the
that
end of
word.
the segment. Listen,
I'm trying to think what the fourth one was. I'm sorry, go.
He's listen, he's a young white kid. Like he's got his whole life ahead of him. And I know Sam Darnold's a white kid too, but he's a ginger. So that's the minority.
That's a real white kid.
That's like a minority.
That's the real white people.
I last year he posted from the Minnesota Vikings. They're like, "Hey, what's your song of the game?" And Sam Darnold said it was like some Waka Flocka Flame thing, and I was like, "That I support." I'm sure Drake Mays was like, Keith Urban or something.
Have you seen the podcast
Jelly
with him and
rolls.
Marshawn Lynch?
Oh,
when
no,
Marshawn he sits down, they're about to talk to him. This is like right when he becomes the starting quarterback of Seattle, and Marshawn just looks at him and says, "I hear they say gingers are N-words now," and I was like, "What?"
Wow.
Well, rearrange the letters.
That's exactly what he said. He's like, "Rearrange the letters." It's like, dude, no,
You can't do that.
You can do that. You can't say it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like, that was a thing for a while on the internet, and I was just laughing.
Cartman made it a thing with gingers and having no souls in South Park.
There was a whole episode based on it too.
I remember that.
That reminds me. And what are you doing on the Super Bowl?
I got invited to a Super Bowl party by a buddy that I haven't talked to in 6 years, so I don't think I'm going to go to his house.
Damn.
Maybe I'll. I don't know,
Hopefully
dude. Last year I watched it with my dad on the couch, and we watched the halftime show. I think it was like a naked lady or something. But I don't know. What are you doing for the Super Bowl?
We just keeping it in the house, just me and the family.
Hell yeah.
But my son got his braces off this last week.
Okay.
And I asked him, is there anything certain that you want? Because I mean, we could always do pizza and wings.
Sure.
And if you've ever waited until Super Bowl, you got to order that early.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked him, what do you want this year? He said, I want some ribs. So I've been trying to find some really good ribs at a meat market so I could season them up and 24 hours and get them in there. But they're not as easy to find, I would say, because I'm looking for some big. I want to blow this kid's mind away when I make him some
Brontosaurus ribs.
Yeah, you want some like actual like. It's kind of like you get a chicken wing these days, and it's like it's like
what is this?
This chicken died this early,
right?
For this wing?
And see, that's what me and my old lady have been finding. The wings. I will say, just wing it by the mall.
Oh, best ones.
Those wings,
easily the best wings.
Yes,
big
I will
and crunchy,
say, and I love wings.
Yeah.
And these things are as big as my hand. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, these chickens
And
got
then
antibiotics.
they sell me that. I was talking to the bartender. She's like, they're never frozen. They're never this. I'm like, whatever you get them from, they are the ones. But I'm trying to find that in ribs.
So I know a guy.
I will let me know off the air.
Okay.
We do have the owner of Wooddale Meat Market coming in tomorrow, so maybe he can push me in the right direction.
Yeah.
But I also don't have $100 to put down on ribs.
It's true.
So I'm just saying.
Hey, you want cow ribs or like a fake cow painted as a cow
I
rib?
want some big ass ribs.
He wants a side that's going to be tipping over his car, just like the Flintstones. That's what he
Exactly.
wants.
Exactly.
Sir, we have run out of time, though. Appreciate you
guys.
coming in as always, and we will see you in a week.
Thank you guys. Shout out Ridgeview Soccer. My niece had her last game
Nice.
yesterday.
Go
Nice.
Wolfpack.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's
I'm
take
a
a break.
Wolfpack. So.
Are you? Oh, that's right. You did go to Ridgeview.
Sir.
I always forget what high school everybody went to. I never really think about it,
Garces
to be
Ridgeview
honest.
Foothill, baby. God bless.
You went to Foothill?
Mhm.
I didn't know that either.
I'm thug, baby.
Yeah. And yet you don't want George Pickens. Look at this.
What the
Full
hell?
circle.
He's
let's
West
take a-
High thug.
Let's take a break before we get ourselves into trouble. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. Early Bird Special right here on KTEO Sports Talk 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. It's time to talk to our guy Bolt Brady from Bolt Brady and His Bro at the Believe Network one final time before the end of the NFL season. But don't fret. We'll talk to our guy Bolt probably throughout the year when all the big golf majors happen, all these other big events that we could talk about in the world of gambling. But, sir, good to hear from you. How are you?
What's happening, fellas? And I'll come on for March Madness, too.
Yes, absolutely. We got March Madness right around the corner. I forgot about that. Any specific school you're looking at right now that a favorite?
No, I started to watch basketball, college basketball, a little bit closer now since football's winding down. But once football's officially over, that's when I drill it in.
Yeah, no, I'm the exact same way. I hear Arizona's doing very well. I'm excited to see what the Wildcats can do, but I'm a USC fan at heart, so there's a little bit of biases there at all times. So I won't lie on that one.
I've got a USC Super Bowl fact for you.
Oh, what do we got?
So Drake May went to Carolina, right?
Yes.
Darnold went to USC.
Yes.
It's both schools' first time having a starting quarterback in the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, yeah.
And USC's had 26 drafted quarterbacks, but this is the first starter.
I have heard the USC factoid. I didn't really consider North Carolina, but then again, I've made this point on the show a couple times. There's not been a whole ton of great football players come out of North Carolina, so the comparison's not very fair. But you're right, 26 different quarterbacks. I mean, is USC still, in your mind, the one school in college ball that's kind of cursed at that position? Because it doesn't seem like any of them really come out and do well.
I know, it's crazy too, because they get a lot of the recruits from Southern California.
Yes. I mean, now don't get me wrong, Caleb can change that, and it looks like Sam can also change that now. But you look down the line, I mean, Carson Palmer was great, but not necessarily Super Bowl winning. Matt Leinart never really got a shot. John David Booty and all the rest of them never really got off the ground. The last one that maybe had a shot outside of Sam was Matt Barkley.
Right. Yeah, it's a hard position.
Definitely. Absolutely. But what we got for the game itself, my friend, I see a 4.5 point spread right now favoring Seattle.
Yeah, it's 4.5. It's been there pretty much the entire time. I mean, I'm sure it's been beaten to death, that New England's played this really easy schedule the entire year. And I was skeptical too, but taking a closer look into it, let's not forget the Patriots back when Tom was there. They would have an easy schedule too with the AFC East. That was a total joke.
Yeah, it's true. At times they had to play Buffalo, which was an easy win 2 times a year. Miami was definitely the next best team, but it usually got split every single season.
Yeah, they had to pull a Wildcat here and there every once in a while to beat them, or the Miami Miracle. I mean, there was times.
At least you got the Miami Miracle out of it.
That's why Eli Manning should be in the Hall of Fame, because he saved us.
Yes,
one year.
And then the Jets, of course.
Yeah,
yes, of course. And the Jets will always be the Jets. But is this the resurgence for the Patriots? Are we going to see the dynasty back after this?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle wins, but I'll be taking New England in the 4.5.
Are you? Okay.
Yep.
What makes you feel like they're going to cover this spread a little bit? Because, I mean, both quarterbacks are dealing with injuries from what we understand. Do you think Drake May's shoulder is not as bad as they're claiming?
Well, I saw they were pointing out when he hopped off the plane, like he was carrying his bag, his luggage with the shoulder that was supposed to be hurt. And I tend to agree with the person that mentioned, if it was really that bad, would he be carrying his luggage in that hand?
True.
And I don't think so.
True.
A lot's been said about Seattle's defense, and they allow 17.1 points per game, but New England's 17.3. I just think New England's kind of flying under the radar a little bit here.
And they've beaten plenty of great teams to get to this point. I would assume that they shake off that, they didn't play anybody throughout this year moniker, because I mean, beating the Texans in Denver alone really should just give them the credit they deserve, in my opinion.
I totally agree. And the Chargers defense is pretty good as well. I mean, it's just, at what point do we start giving them credit?
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah. Well, that's the issue. Is nobody wants to.
But no, I will probably back that up, because it is the Super Bowl. There's a reason that these two teams are in it. They fought their ways in their own little paths. But we did have a listener question asking about the total points, and if you would feel more about the over or under.
Yeah, I tend to think that this is going to be low scoring. That there's actually another prop bet that I have that's associated with that. I kind of mentioned before last week, teams really start off slow in the Super Bowl. They just don't want to make the mistake. They do it even with the best quarterbacks like Patrick and Tom Brady. So I really think they're going to do that here with the two of these guys. They've never been there, obviously. Another prop that I like is any team to score 30 plus, and I say no, minus 150. I just don't think there's going to be much scoring in this.
What do you think the score will end up being? Are you thinking 28-21, somewhere in that area?
No, I think it's going to be tough for a team to get over 20, to be honest.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so you think this will be one of those low-scoring games like we saw between the Patriots and the Rams a couple years ago?
The 13-3.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the final score was, 13-3. I was trying to think. I thought it was 10-3, but yeah.
I think more around like 20-17. Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, I expect this to be a close game, but the defensive-minded head coaches do kind of make me think that you're right on this one. Do you think 45.5 is just Vegas knowing something the rest of us don't, though?
Well, I mean, they base those numbers on statistics, right? They just kind of crunch the numbers and say this is what they've averaged, and they come up with it. They also probably tend to shade it a little bit higher as well because they know the majority of the people are going to take the over because most people like to see points.
True.
So they're going to shade it a little bit higher normally. I just, the other route that you could take is like it's under 10 for the first quarter. The first quarter just historically is just really slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With points, low points. And that usually probably would be the best bet. I did see we had a listener earlier in the week that was talking about that it actually moved. I guess when the Super Bowl was actually set, they had Seattle with 3.5, and he was comfortable with that. And then they jumped over to 4.5, and he's like, that is just a little too close for me. I personally think it'll be something like 28-24. So I'm staying away from the points, but I'm also, we've been talking about this, for 2 weeks, and it is so crazy about how similar these teams are. Whether it's, tough defenses, they both have quarterbacks that could go, but it all goes through the running backs, which I think it's going to come down to which running back, whether it's Walker or Stevenson. And obviously, like most Super Bowls, what turnover is going to change this whole game. And I mean, I'm playing it safe this year. I'm going Super Bowl squares and maybe a couple prop bets, but I don't know which team is going to edge it out, and I think it's going to be close.
Is there any prop bets you're looking at for specific players? I know you said Jackson Smith and Jigby last week, but is there anything else that you've kind of highlighted?
Yeah, JSN, last week said under his yardage, and also Darnold under his passing yardage. And then the only other prop that I'm looking at is the any team to score 30 plus, no, minus 150. But I'll reiterate that, you want to take prop bets that are yes, no, or over under, because let's take the coin flip, for example. You guys mentioned the coin flip. The coin flip is a 50-50 shot, right? So your odds really should be plus 100. That's a 50-50 shot. And you'll notice they'll make it like minus 105. So you'd have to win 51.2% of the time to come out profitable there. Well, it's supposed to be a 50-50 bet. So that's how the books, they'll always be profitable on the Super Bowl now that they have these props bet.
How do they shift that, though, from being a 50-50?
That's just their little, quote unquote cut, and so that's what they do with all of these, the MVP, all of those awards, predict the exact score of the game, all of that. Like that stuff you really should stay away from it.
Okay. No, that makes sense. That's why I had a head scratcher there. Cause like you said, it's a coin flip. It's always 50-50.
The house got to get their cut.
Apparently.
And I was looking at the MVP, the odds, and they have Drake May,
naturally,
Kenneth Walker, and I didn't see Darnold on the list.
Of course not. They don't believe in Sam. No one believes in Sam.
I do.
I believe in Sam. Before we let you go, my friend, any predictions on the league MVP that'll be giving out tonight? Do you think it goes to Stafford, or is it going to go to Drake?
Wow, that's a tough one, because I thought if Stafford won, it would be over with for sure with him.
Right.
I think they'll probably go Stafford. They probably figure the young Buck's got some more years left in him.
That's what I think too. The league will look at it and say Stafford's on his way out. This is his first MVP, and honestly, it is his last chance or one of his last chances to get it. So I think they give it to him. Do you think that gives Drake a little bit of a fire under his butt though to win the Super Bowl MVP?
I think he's probably pretty stoked just going in, being in the Super Bowl right now.
Honestly, hearing all the audio, I mean, this guy has got to be one of the most humble starting quarterbacks I've heard in quite some time. Like, I don't think he's said anything bad about anybody in his life.
I know, it's refreshing.
It really is. But at the same time, it makes me sick in a way, Bolt. I'm not going to lie to you. Not going to lie to you. Well, sir, thank you so much for your time. As always, we really appreciate it. And we will talk to you in March.
Take care, fellas.
Thanks, man. Let's take a break real quick. We will get to
No
the
break.
NBA. No break? We're going to go
break.
straight through? Okay, fantastic. Let's get into some of these NBA trades that you saw yesterday. And then there's also a story out of the NHL I want to get to before we get out of here as well, because their top prospect has found himself in hot water. But ESPN is kind of spinning it in a way that I don't think it's really like it is, but I'll explain. But let's get to the NBA trades first. The 5 biggest ones that I saw, we will obviously start with Anthony Davis being shipped over to Washington. Washington getting Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, Dante Exum, and Jaden Hardy in this trade. The Mavs received Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malachi Brahman, and Marvin Bagley III, plus 2 first-round draft picks and 3 second-round draft picks, ultimately hitting the massive restart button that the Mavericks have been wanting to hit since they drafted Cooper Flagg, and now have the pieces essentially to build around him, plus a surplus of over $150 million guaranteed money, which means they can go out there and give that to any star in which they want at whatever, point in time they want to when it actually happens. They'll be planning to build around Cooper Flagg from here on forward. A great player to do that. And I think he has more than showed everybody that he lives up to the hype of being the first overall pick. The opposite side of this, though, the Washington Wizards have silently created a playoff team in the East. I know. A lot of you are saying, what the hell are you talking about? Did we forget who they traded for a couple weeks ago? You're going to have Trae Young at the 1, D'Lo at the 2, and Anthony at the 3, or Anthony at the 4 or the 5. And granted, I understand Anthony is injury prone as hell. Thank God you got Alex Sarr and all the other rookies that you drafted the last couple years still on the team and plan to do so. And keep your first round draft pick for this year. Washington is building themselves a stud team down there. And honestly, I'm here for it. I'm ready to see Washington Wizards basketball back in the East. I'm not going to lie. What are your thoughts on this trade, my friend, before we move on? Do you think it moves the needle at all?
I mean, not really. Not to me personally. I'm still wondering how the hell the unibrow still has trade value
at this point. I mean, it's the potential of Anthony Davis, I would assume, and the fact that he's won a championship. But you're right. I mean, there really shouldn't be that much, favor towards him, or at least not for 5 draft
and
picks.
with the Luka trade, he played 31 games or something like that.
31 games for Dallas, technically.
31 games.
Well, they claim 29, and Kyrie and him, guess how many have they played together?
0.
1 time
in the beginning.
Kyrie Irving, I mean, I love Kyrie, always have, obviously being a Cleveland Cavalier fan, but Kyrie Irving's entire career can be chalked up to what ifs across the board, because he's had some of the most stud teammates ever and never played with all of them.
Right.
I mean, the big 3 out there in Brooklyn barely played together. Here in Dallas with Luka, barely got to play together. Here in Dallas again with Anthony, 1 game together. I don't know if it's just Kyrie's luck or just the players that they're putting around him. He himself, not exactly the pinnacle of healthy, but it's the wildest thing. And again, the biggest, craziest thing, in my opinion, to all of this is they got more draft picks for AD in this trade than they got for Luka. They got 1 first-round pick for Luka. They got 5 in this trade alone. And you can't sit there and tell me that D'Angelo Russell, Dante Exum, and Jaden Hardy are worth 2 first-round draft picks and 3 second-round draft picks.
Well, aside from the AD trade, we finally got Chris Paul traded.
Yes.
And then now news is coming out that
he's not.
He probably will never play there.
No, and honestly, we could play the Shams audio if we want, but he pretty much said straight up he will never play a game in Toronto, and that's not because they don't want him there, but it's more of just they know the relationship isn't what Chris Paul wants in his final season. So let's hear from Shams on what this means for CP3 and if he will be back in the league at some point.
It will not be for Toronto, and I think when I talk to teams around the league, his NBA future obviously very much up in the air. It's not certain whether he's going to play again in the NBA as of right now.
I know the report has been that they expect Toronto to trade him today before noon at the deadline.
Or drop him. And I personally, just as, watching him as a rookie and when he was young, I would love to see him have at least, wrap up the second half of the season with the team and actually play basketball. But I think I'm probably way off. Honestly, I would love to see him play again too, but it's kind of like the Anthony Davis thing. Are you worth the money they're going to pay you? And as much as I hate to say it, the mouthiness and the loud leadership won't fly with a lot of teams. It won't. As much as we all sit here and claim, well, that's just Chris Paul, and it is just Chris Paul, I accept it. I think that it's a good thing in most ways because as the point guard, you need to be the quarterback of the team. So it makes a lot of sense to me. But there's not a lot of teams and a lot of head coaches that are just going to be like, yeah, no, that's Chris.
Let's get Chris Paul. That's
just Chris.
I mean, running down the list, there was a bunch of trades yesterday. I would expect a bunch more today.
Kuminga finally getting moved.
Kuminga's finally moved.
What do you think about that trade? I mean, Warriors get Kristaps Porzingis, who essentially is a versatile big like Kuminga was. And we were talking about it yesterday with the Jimmy Butler situation and Draymond Green. This opens up the avenue now for the potential trade for Giannis, which is still on the table.
I heard this morning driving in that that's why they did the trade is because they're done.
Yeah.
That they tried with Giannis, and it seems Milwaukee just put out a press release thinking they're in no rush. And like we talked about yesterday, you had mentioned, if they don't find something that they want, that they feel that is worth what they want out of Giannis, that they'll wait until the offseason.
And again, that was always been on the table. I don't think the Warriors are fully giving up on the Giannis situation. Maybe they have in this season.
Yeah, but that's what I meant.
I don't think that they're just going to shy away from the potential of him and coming and playing with Steph next year. But with this move, I mean, I like it just solely because Kristaps is a guy who has championship experience. He can shoot just as well as a lot of these other guards on the team. And he fills the Kuminga spot perfectly and probably will have a better chemistry with the coach. And Jonathan Kuminga this season has had probably one of the statistically worst seasons of his career and has not liked playing in in Golden State at all.
Yeah.
He's hated it since the word
He's
go.
been complaining since day one.
So him going over to Atlanta with Buddy Hield, it's a solid move. The Raptors also picking up a center out of this from the Warriors, but I think that's just more for a roster spot. But that one was a pretty interesting move.
And one of those trades that, fell under the radar that I was circling is the Sixers trading guard
Thunder.
Jared McCain over to the Thunder. I was like, what?
No, I said the same thing. No one was talking about this when it happened, and I don't know why. McCain, although this year only averaging about 6 points, last year was the favorite to win the Rookie of the Year before he got hurt.
And they got him young.
And they got him for nothing.
Yeah.
They got him for
future draft picks.
a Rockets first-round pick and 2 second-rounders. Draft capital they didn't need anymore, mind you. And the Rockets being so good, this upcoming year's draft class, this is going to be an awful pick. This is going to be, 20s, 30, somewhere in that area? So realistically, they got a steal out of this, especially with SGA now dealing with an injury. This guy could come in and fill that void. And if the injury history doesn't continue, I mean, because this guy has been banged up. He got banged up in the offseason and was out for the first month or two of the season this year. But if he could turn that around, the Thunder just picked up another stud at the guard position that could play right next to SGA when they need him to, or fill in for SGA off the bench.
I was going to say, or come off the bench. And then the Bulls, not only did we talk about this yesterday, but they did end up trading Conley and Kobe.
I was mistaken. I thought I don't know why in my head I thought there was a rule that you can't trade a player after you just traded for him. I think it's when you sign them as a free agent, you have to wait 30 days or something like
They
that.
traded both of the guards to the Hornets, and then this morning they traded AO to the Timberwolves.
It's been a fire sale, my friend. We talked about this yesterday.
I mean, we got a bunch of players. I think we're at 15 second rounders now. I think we could probably take over the whole second round of the draft next year. And personally, I still don't think they're done.
No, I mean, there might be one or two moves left in Chicago's wake here before the noon deadline, but I think at this point they're just ready to punt on it. And again, another team that's silently building a playoff contender, Charlotte. Charlotte has built a playoff contender with what they have there right now. They are 10th right now. I'm sorry. They are fighting Chicago for 10th in the East. And honestly, they are one of the hottest teams in basketball. Another team that Snacks highlighted early in this season as somebody to look out for. They could be playing into the play-in tournament, if not playing all the way up into the playoffs themselves before the season is over.
Well, I know you got some hockey news. That I wanted to throw this out because we talked about it when it first happened, but that Lions fan that got into it with DK is now suing $100 million lawsuit, not only against the Steelers, DK Metcalf, but he's also going after Ocho Cinco, Shannon Sharp's media company, and he wants $100 million, saying I never said the N-word, and now it's interrupting my work. It's interrupting how people are looking at me, my business. So I mean,
I get that this is the society we live in now, but $100 million lawsuit.
I was like, where did you find that number?
That's what I want to know.
Like, and who's your attorney?
That attorney is shooting for the
Saul,
stars.
Saul
baby.
Goodman.
I don't. Yeah, that's wild. I don't think he wins $100 million. There probably will be a settlement outside of court, which will be a good hefty amount of money. But $100 million. Good luck with that, Big Hoss.
I'm sure he gets a nice chunk.
Yes, and don't get me wrong. Does he have a suit? Hell yeah, he's got a suit. Hell yeah. And does he gonna win? Hell yeah, he's probably gonna win.
Out of court.
Yeah. But I mean, realistically speaking, no one can prove you didn't say it. No one can prove you said it. And we now know the history that you have had with DK Metcalf. And you can't hide that there, big bud. If you're going to be going to court, they're going to be looking up that stuff too. So it's going to work out, but it's not going to work out, I think. We'll talk about that more and more. I obviously don't have enough time to get to Gavin McKenna. For those of you who have been following this story, though, Gavin McKenna, 18-year-old prospect, most likely number one pick in the NHL draft next year, got into some serious trouble where he got into an altercation with somebody, fought them at an outdoor hockey event at Penn State when they took on Michigan State. There's more to this story, though, than ESPN is reporting, from what I've been able to gather. It appears McKenna may have been defending his mother. Somebody was bad-mouthing his mom at this event. He told him to stop. The kid didn't stop, so McKenna slugged him. We'll talk about this more tomorrow, but I think we can all agree if that is the story, this kid's justified. Let's get out of here, Spark. Let's go home.